check.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2.
All right. We're talking AI.
Get in the van.
Get in.
We're not robbing a liquor store, and this is the proverbial Sprinter van where all the best filmmaking conversations happen. All right, man. So AI, should we panic? Let's just start there. Let's just jump right in.
Yes.
Should we panic?
Not yet. Maybe some people would say yes. Here's my thing. I think where I feel the most uncertain is in all the areas that I don't know what's going to happen in, right? Like things do seem to be getting better every day with AI and the things that it's capable, and it appears to me to being applied most visibly in the creative spheres, right? Photo AI.
Yeah.
Like it might be showing up in other tech, obviously it is, but like it's most talked about in terms of like pictures, writing, videos, podcasts, AI, YouTube, content creators. And in that uncertainty, I'm fearful, and certainly through the lens of, say, capitalism and people's need to cut costs. But when I take a step back and I look at like the actual content it's creating, I don't get as worried.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm no expert, Darren. I don't know if you know this. I'm not a robot. I'm not an AI person. But look, we're very far off from, I think, something being on set to replace a DP, to replace a director. I think someone still needs to be at the helm. And I think the images and the video that are coming out look impressive for a robot, for like, oh, that's impressive. A computer created that. An AI created that. But when I apply it through like the lens of humans, like what they're capable of, I still think it lags pretty far behind. I think most of it's still pretty cheesy looking, feels fake, feels heartless, like all the things. So that's where I kind of say, well, if we can figure out a way to use it as a tool, not necessarily to replace people, I think it becomes really valuable. But yeah, it's in the uncertainty that gets fearful. I mean, what do you think? Like, I think you spend a little bit more time, and that's like researching that stuff than I do. What's your feeling on it?
I've been learning about it. I haven't found anything yet that really terrifies me in terms of replacing humans.
Yeah.
And actually, the more that I research it, the more that I feel more hopeful. And not because it's not doing impressive things. I mean, it is, but you still have your creative taste. Yeah. Right? Like, so an AI does not know what I'm thinking and what I want. Humans are like inherently random. Right. We're like incredibly random. We, kind of flow with the wind on our tastes and our creative desires and what we want to be doing and why we think suddenly we want to get this shot versus another. Like I may have just watched a film last night and I want to do something. I want to apply something I saw in that film, and the next day I completely change my mind on how I want to do something. And AI, it can't do that. And it also, like, I think one thing that's like not talked about in the AI conversation is like our willpower. Right. Like, so, at some point, if the unemployment rate gets like 10, 20%, which is horrible. Like right now it's 4%, which is very low. And I think the Great Depression, it was in the 20s or something like that. If it gets to that point where like it's taking everybody's job, humans, we have to work. Right. That's like our purpose in life is, it's love, it's relationships, but like we need to feel useful. Yeah. If we don't, we die, we wither. So like, I don't think we will let that happen. Now, my personal view is that I think that there will be like a hybrid model. Yeah. At some point. We've seen, the cinema's changed ever since it was born not that long ago. Right. Like the teens, the 20s. like cinema was born. And if you look at like geologic time, that's not even a blink of an eye. And in that time, we've gone from black and white, soundless picture shows to photography to we went from photography to film. Radio killed the video killed the radio star. I mean, it's like it's been changing rapidly since the 1920s.
Yeah. Right.
So I think we're just seeing a massive jump right now, and I think there's going to be a hybrid model. I think that I've tested different things. Nothing that's been a silver bullet like, oh, this is going to change everything. But like Runway AI, that platform.
Yeah.
Like I think what it's going to do is it's really going to democratize storytelling, just like the DSLR did for filmmaking, except in a bigger way. And I think what we're going to see is a lot of filmmaking not require massive sets or actual locations.
Yeah. Well, right. Just like with the DSLR filming, like you mentioned, like it really expanded the amount of people that could now do that craft, right? Like you no longer needed a $80,000 film camera or whatever.
Or a lab to process the film.
Correct. Like you now, with a relatively small piece of equipment, you could go out. So that meant the kid in high school who dreams of one day becoming a filmmaker can do it if he can't get his hands on Super 8 or like some sort of thing and figure all that out. So it really expanded and in some ways I think made the whole everything boom, right?
Yeah.
Like definitely
like leveled the playing field.
Right. And I remember talking to people around that time period who were older than us, who were kind of like that generation that had really big sets and all the camera gear and stuff. And they were pretty fearful. They were like, how are we going to be able to do what we do on a budget? And, look at the world now. Like people are doing it. People are figuring it out. There's room for the really big stuff still. There's really tiny things. And this might be just another iteration of that expansion with the AI. And I think one thing's for certain, we as humans, with every job, there are things that just feel like tasks. And I think we do look for ways to kind of offload those. Like, I don't want to offload portions of my filmmaking process, of the storytelling process, because I like doing it. Like, I like writing. I know you like writing a lot. Like, but then there's portions of things that I wouldn't mind offloading.
Right.
You know what I mean? And how you work that into your process, how you're transparent about that in the filmmaking, especially when documentary comes into play. I think that that transparency is going to be important. But yeah, I don't know. Like, should people have a healthy dose of fear around the AI? Sure. Do I think it's going to be this like killer of everything? I don't know. That's really kind of wiping away a lot of, the things that make us human and like how we derive enjoyment and satisfaction out of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, human agency is going to come into play, what we allow to happen, what we don't allow to happen. I think that people like painting didn't go away when the movie was invented.
No, there's still painters out there, still really good ones.
Yeah.
Incredible ones.
I mean, it's changing. It's definitely changing. Like with Midway, earlier I was saying, you could do like with the locations.
Yeah.
Like you can have real actors and work with them with cameras, but put that actor in a Elizabethan, age mansion, right?
Right.
In their living room. And I think it's at the point where it looks pretty good now. Like you can change the weather from snowing to sunshine or sunshine to snowing outside. So I think like that kind of stuff, I think what we're going to see is a lot more of that kind of stuff.
Yes, I agree. Like, no, what comes to mind is like, you still have directors like Quentin Quarantino.
Quentin Quarantino?
I was thinking of the...
I think that's a meme
Yeah,
from,
that's a meme
COVID.
guy, yeah. Quentin Tarantino, sorry. You still have directors who like to shoot on film. It's not like film has gone away because now we're in the digital sphere. And there's a lot of people that still say, I enjoy that the film, shooting on film and the graininess and the attributes that it brings to your filmmaking. And I think, but we do have a lot more now is like a lot of different variety of shooting styles and things. And I think AI is going to expand that more. I mean, what kind of stories are going to be told if you're not tethered to having to like go to a green screen or spend, hundreds of $1,000s on visual effects to achieve that? Like, how does that impact, your ability to tell a story that's like groundbreaking or completely different?
Yeah. I definitely feel for the industry. I'm concerned about my own job.
Yeah.
I think everybody is, and I think that's important to recognize and acknowledge. But I also think that people really tend to go to the worst case scenario soon when something brand new comes out. Yeah. I think this is going to test a lot of, one thing that I think I've already been doing a lot of, research and online and stuff. One thing I'm already seeing is people rebelling against it. People are rebelling against it with their wallets. I just read a study where things that are labeled AI drops the click-through rate like 50%. Like the trust drops like 50%.
Yeah.
Right? So like, I think that there's going to be a natural human aversion to all this AI slop crap. And I think people are still processing all this. Like, ChatGPT was 2 years ago or something, and 3 years ago, and it was like, okay, this is a fun little toy. And now it's evolved obviously very quickly, but we haven't seen massive disruption yet.
Right.
Like, people are still working, we own a production company. We're still shooting and editing and creating graphics the old fashioned way.
Right.
And I think that leaning into what we do as human beings so well, building trust with subjects.
Right.
Like, I mean, what is a computer going to do that?
Right.
And building trust with crews and working with actors. So I think we just got to lean into what makes us human.
Yeah.
And that's building trust with crews, with subjects. If you're somebody that just sort of takes orders, and AI can do a lot of that now. I think you have to be somebody who has guidance, has a point of view, right? And in a way, it's kind of making everybody a director because you're giving prompts, but you're really giving direction,
right,
into what you're looking for and your creative taste is. So I'm nervous about the future. I think it's scary, but the more I test it, the more I believe in human creativity and human work, and I think that it's all going to come. It's going to shift wildly until we find some kind of equilibrium, right? But
I was thinking about this the other day, at least in terms of because we do filmmaking work and we do series work and documentary work, and then we've got a lot of clients and folks too, and we've had. I don't know about other people, and I'm always curious to hear, but we've yet to really have anybody who asks for AI driven work. But I do worry. I think if there's a more immediate worry is just overall in general, maybe the thought that this will drive down the cost of production. And I think that the thing that I'm just seeing more often than not is that it's not. Like, it still requires such a great amount of like effort to it's just like any other tool that's kind of like helping you maybe like speed some process up and others not so much, but like it still requires a pretty significant amount of time to really get anything of value out of it. Like, even if you're using it as a research assistant or whatever, more often than not, I'm taking portions of it. I'm really having to still do all the parts of my job that I've always done. And so it'd be interesting to hear from like definitely the audience and anybody how it shows up for them, right?
Right.
For the editors out there, for the graphic designers out there. But largely for our company, like, it's not like people are coming out of the woodwork being like hankering to create AI content. I really think, yes, it's new, and yes, they people might not know what to ask for, but mainly I just think that like the stuff that we create, the humanness that we bring to our projects are what make them good, because they might not be perfect, or they might not be, that's not the thought that I want, but like that our humanness is what's adding feeling and emotion and following our intuition and making those kind of like decisions that aren't grounded in data. They're like, they just feel right. That is something that AI is not going to be able to do.
Yeah, no, for sure. It does, what you said kind of struck me about how you still do all the same amount of work.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that's true, right now for sure. And I experimented with an AI editor, Eddie A.I, and I wrote about this in a recent newsletter about how it was very promising in terms of, we produce these long docuseries shows, and so we have dozens of interviews, hours and hours of footage. And I think that part of the process is going through it and watching and listening and finding the story in the transcript. But, the deadline doesn't change, and it's always too short. And so if I could get a solid string out, like if I could take a story with 10 interviews and, AI could get me 20% of the way there, 30%, 50%, whatever it could do. Just like when you have ChatGPT write something for you, it only gets you part of the way there. It's not your voice. It's not something you would say. So you rewrite it. I at least that's how I do it. If I have AI, ChatGPT assist something for me, I rewrite the whole thing practically anyways, because I keep thinking about how I want to write it.
Yeah.
And I love writing. Not everybody does, but with editing, I feel like it's similar to writing, and you're just writing on a timeline. And I found I found Eddie A.I, and Eddie was, it looked like a promising thing. I'd seen an influencer use it, and then it was really, I learned he was sponsored by Eddie A.I, so he was really glowing about it. But, I ran it through the system. You can upload multiple camera angles, and you can have it give you a rough cut. And it was like so much work. It almost like I could have just done it already, like it was just so much work, and it wasn't there, and it wasn't recognizing what sound bites were emotional and what weren't. It wasn't recognizing, it was basically just using transcribed dialogue to chop it up via text.
Right.
So it didn't really know, what bites were said powerfully. It didn't really know what the silent parts were, so it was just like more of a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. And, I think it'll get there. I mean, I definitely think, we will have a system that does create a string out that helps. But to your point, I mean, anyone that cares or takes pride in their work, like, is going to work it.
It goes back to what we talked about in, like, with process intuition, at least in terms of the way we've always done stuff. Like, there's a point when we do our documentaries where I feel like I know the footage so intimately that, like, I could be mowing my lawn. I could be doing something that's like out of the edit bay and trying to roll over a problem in my head of like, this doesn't feel right. What are we doing? And I'll remember a soundbite, that suddenly, randomly, that we recorded. I'm like, oh, that might work there. And then I'll kind of run into the edit bay and try to see if it works. And it's like, but it's only because I've like sat with the footage and I've gone through it. So my thought here is, does AI really just push around where that time gets spent rather than, you know what I mean? So
exactly.
If you were going to use it, at least in terms of like building out, like using Eddie or using, ChatGPT to even with transcripts to write your outline, it may come close. Then you move into the edit bay, and maybe one day we have a really good AI platform that can put the string out. But what happens when you reach the point where you're like, okay, this doesn't feel right, at some point you still just have to get into the footage.
Right.
You know, and then you're spending a lot of time because you don't know where to start. You're like, guess I got to go back to the beginning and just like learn all this footage or start looking for something specific.
They are coming up. Like, actually, one thing Eddie A.I was good at was it logs the footage with metadata. So it'll watch your shot. Let's say it's of a cherry tree or something like that. And it seems to know that, and it'll mark it as a cherry tree. So then you can go on your text-based search and
type cherry tree,
and it'll pop up.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So there is some cool things that could literally save you time just finding a shot.
Yeah,
which is great. Nobody wants to be just like searching for a shot. I like, you'll have this thing that you want to do that's creative, and you kind of forget about it by the time you find the shot.
Yeah.
So there's stuff in there that's good, but yeah, I remember I was at Real Screen, which is this conference for TV producers to pitch executives. And one of the speakers was talking about how they were using a lot of AI tools on a recent TV show. And the producer just felt like, I feel so distant from the work.
Right.
Like, I don't even know what this was.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, will capitalism care if we're close to the work?
Probably not.
I mean, it's hard to say, but
humans do, though.
Yeah.
I mean, capitalism has an entity, but humans do. Like, And
I think there is something like, I'm starting to see more and more reports where data is showing that people, their pocketbook, they don't spend the money on the things that, like the AI ads.
Right.
Even to the point where, Twitter, how like ChatGPT has a bunch of emojis in it when you like write something, so you can totally tell when it's ChatGPT. So like Elon Musk he put this thing in Grok where it can no longer put emojis in ads, so that people don't get tipped off to the fact that it was AI generated. Which, I mean, who knows what that means? But like, I think that people are kind of like their shock and awe is wearing off, and now they're kind of like, So these bears or these actors are all AI. I don't know. Does that feel right? I don't know.
Here's a question. How truthful do you think people are with the amount that they're using AI?
That's a good question. I think people are not. They don't want to share how much they use it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I use it all the time.
I would agree. I think they minimize it. I think that people are getting more and more okay with being like, yeah, this is the future. Like, we're all using it.
Yeah.
But I think to the level, like, are they reporting 100% of their using? I think it's probably maybe 50%.
Only ChatGPT knows the answer to that. Sam Altman. Yeah.
But it's worth thinking about because, like, then is it, why are they afraid to not say 100%? Or they feel for their job that suddenly someone's going to like minimize their work, diminish their input into the world, like their output, whatever.
I mean, I think the people that will succeed in the future are going to be AI enhanced. I don't think like, you know what I mean? Like
cyborgs,
not like cyborgs, but like, so I like to write, right? Yeah. And so I'll use ChatGPT to maybe help if I got writer's block.
Yeah.
But I can't personally just copy and paste. Like, I have to, I never get something back that I would say or write. And I also will use it, it comes in handy. I'm a kind of verbose.
Yeah.
You probably know this after working with me for 12 years. I can be pretty verbose. So like, if I need to kind of quickly get from 3,000 words to 2,000 words, ChatGPT helps a great deal for that. Like, reduce this 20%, and then I'll reread it. I might change some stuff. So I use it all the time. And I think I think that's going to be, the people everyone's going to have access to it. Mm-hmm. If you live in an African country without access to like certain things, you're going to have like ChatGPT.
Right.
And so we're all like on this level playing field with this enhancement. I think it's the people that utilize it. I think I read a stat where if you use ChatGPT to generate a headline or a title for a YouTube video, it's like it gives you like an average of a 2% click-through rate. But if you play with the title until you're happy with it, it's like a 7%.
Oh, interesting.
Click-through rate.
Yeah.
So it goes to show you that like the things that it comes back with are so vanilla because it's taking such a huge data set.
Yeah.
It's not you.
Yeah.
It's like you have a very specific human being, a very specific taste. So like in the future, I think that it's going to be, people that utilize it and enhance it. And I think it's going to be very obvious to people that copy and paste the stuff.
Yeah.
Whether it's an edit or whether it's, a book.
Right. Yeah. I mean, 100. It goes back to kind of what you said earlier. Is I think people need to lean into putting value behind their taste and their viewpoints, because that ultimately is what's unique. Like, and I have this this thought came up while you were talking, was just in a world where I personally am constantly trying to like get closer to just enjoying the process, not the end result, right? Like, of course, we're all like, if I'm creating a film, I have an end result in mind. And I might have high aspirations for this film or this whatever, but just like being like, I just enjoying the process as much as I can and just let the kind of the result, whatever. AI condenses that process in some ways that are good, but then in a lot of ways where I'm like, am I just working for the end result at this point?
Right.
And that feels like that robs me of the enjoyment of the end result then.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. That's why I feel like, I'm 100% pro-human. I kind of wish AI never existed, never came to be, but it's here, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that is the most human part.
Right.
Is the process. Like take editing. I love documentary editing. Yeah. And I've edited a lot of stuff, and I've edited one thing for months, and God, it's such a emotional up and down roller coaster.
Yeah.
To when you feel like you've trained for a marathon, by the time you finally cross the finish line, the enjoyment feels good, but it's like the months of discovery where you're like, oh, this is how this works better.
Yeah.
And, this soundbite changes the entire edit, or this shot makes this so much cleaner. It's like thousands of little discoveries that if AI does it, you just won't get.
Yeah. And you miss out on all those discoveries, all those little like highs that you receive throughout the process. And like, are there real sections where you're really moving through the trenches and you're like trudging along and you're like, this is like hell?
Yeah.
100%. But also that's kind of when you get through it and all of a sudden you're just like tinkering.
Right.
And you're like, this is so much fun. And like, I know where everything is. That's pretty great.
But should we panic? Listen, I think that we're gonna, there's gonna be a bubble burst.
I think so too.
Like it's just grown so fast.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a bubble burst. We don't know what that looks like. I mean, the housing market in 2008.
Yeah.
We have this. So the economy has its ups and downs. Industries have ups and downs. I think there will be jobs that are lost, and I think that the people that will survive are the people that do excellent work.
Yeah.
That lean into their human side, into the storytelling, into solutions oriented, into adjusting rather than ignoring. I think the risk is ignoring that it exists.
Yeah.
Not leaning into it.
Yeah. Well, let us know in the comments what you guys think. Are you using it? What are you using it for? And should we panic?
And subscribe, and then get out of the van.
Get out of the van.
Until next week.
Uh-oh, what was that? I don't know, but let's get out of here.